Welcome to Deadly Clues, where we dig deep into the most mysterious, haunting, and unsolved crimes history has ever known. And tonight, we descend into a city of ghosts, music, and murder. New Orleans, a city where jazz was born and shows danced to its rhythm. But when between 1980 and 1990, something else crept through the city's vein: fear. Not just any fear, a fear sharpened by steel wheelshelled in darkness, delivered in silence. He was never caught. He was never seen. He left no fingerprints, no trace, just blood, broken doors, and shattered families. Some called him a man, some called him a devil. He called himself a spirit from hell. This is the twisted tale of Axeman of New Orleans. May 23rd, 1980, Upper Line Street. It was just after 4 a.m. when Andrew Maggio made a discovery that would never forever haunt the city. Inside the small apartment above his family's grocery, his brother Joseph and sister-in-law Catherine J. brutally butchered in their bed. Their throats had been slashed with razors so deeply Joseph was nearly decapitated. Their heads crushed by an axe. Blood soaks the walls. Oddly, the killer had taken his time. The couple's valuables were untouched. A bottle of whiskey sat open on the dresser. The axe, Joseph's own, lay in the bathroom, washed clean. A straight razor traced back to the brother's own barbershop had been discarded nearby. The killer had removed a panel from the rear door and slipped inside, unseen. The only sound the neighbor recalled was faint crying of a woman. Too late. On June 27, 1980, the Axeman struck again, this time in a small apartment above a corner store on Douglas Street. Louis Basum, a businessman, was found unconscious, his head shattered. His mistress, Harriet Lowe, was barely alive, her face caved in. The scene was grotesque. The axe had once again been left behind. Yet again, no money taken, no clues left. Harriet Lowe briefly regained consciousness days later and accused Basum himself of attacking her, but before she could explain, she died. The media began to spin. Was this a domestic dispute, or was there a monster hiding among them? Weeks later, another victim, Anne Chandler, 8 months pregnant, she was attacked while her husband was away, struck in the face with blunt object. Amazingly, she survived. So did her unborn child. Investigated now has a trend. The attacker always entered through a rear panel, always used an axe, often the victim's own, always escaped without a trace. New Orleans was changing. A once lively city was now living in terror. Families slept with weapons. Windows were nailed shut. Jazz halls emptied. But the Axeman was just getting started. August 10, 1980, Joseph Romano, an elderly grocer, was murdered in his home. His nieces spotted 2 large figures filling the scene, but they couldn't identify them. The police were desperate. They arrested vagrant foreigners and even blamed local Italians, suspecting mafia involvement. But the killing continued, and the fear turned to hysteria. Some said he was a shadow, others believed he was a ghost. But soon, the killer himself would speak. in a letter that remained one of most chilling documents in American crime history. Published into the Times Picayune on March 13, 1990, it began, "They have never caught me. They never will. They have never seen me, for I am invisible." The writer claimed to be a demon from hottest hell, stating he'd be passing over New Orleans on specific night and would kill anyone whose home was not filled with jazz music. The reaction? Immediate. That night, jazz erupted from every corner of the city. Bands played on balconies, gramophones spun until morning. Even terrified family hired musicians to perform in their paroles. One jazz club promoted a dance or die event, and no one was murdered. Was it a sick joke, a genuine mind game, or proof that the killer was real and listening? The letter didn't stop him. On March 10, 1990, just days before it was published, Charles Cantimilla, his wife Rosie, and their daughter Mary were attacked. Mary, only 2 years old, was killed. Her parents survived barely. Rosie accused a neighbor, an Italian man named Frank Giordano, but after further investigation, it became clear Giordano was too frail to have committed a crime. The charges were dropped. The killer remained free. August 10, 1990, Steve Boca, another grocer, was attacked. Then Sarah Lowman. Then October 1990, Mike Pepitone, blood gone to death as his wife washed in horror. The trail then went cold. Was the Axeman one killer or several? Was he targeting Italians? Was it about race, money, music? Main theories have occurred. First one is Joseph Memoir theory. In 1920, Mike Pepitone's widow shot and killed Mumfrey, claiming he was her husband's killer. He had ties to organized crime, but no evidence ever surfaced. Mafia theory. Many victims were Italian grocers. Some believe it was extortion or revenge, a silent war among families. Occult theory. Based on the demonic nature of the letter, some believe the killer saw himself as a vessel of death. Jazz obsession. Could a psychologically disturbed person have fixated a jazz as a way to cope with rage or control people? No fingerprint, no confession, no real suspect, just shadows. Today, the Axeman of New Orleans is legend. He's been the subject of books, documentaries, even TV shows like American Horror Story. But beneath the myth is terrifying truth. A man or entity slips into homes, murdered in silence, and walked away untouched. The Axeman reminds us of fragility of safety, the thin line between the known and the unknowable, and how music saved a city. Thank you for joining us on Deadly Clues. If tonight's tale chilled your spine, hit subscribe and drop the comment and let us know, who do you think the Axeman was? Was he ever caught? Or is he still out there buried in history? And remember, in the darkest crimes, the clues are always there. You just have to know where to look. Until next time, stay safe and stay curious.